You are alive today because someone, thousands of centuries ago, twisted two weak strands of plant fiber together and made one strong one. Not exaggeration. That single twisted strand is the reason you exist at all. The reason 400 generations of people before you survived long enough to have you. That is how much weight sits inside a piece of cord you have probably never thought about once in your life. Look down for a second. There is a lace on your shoe, or a drawstring on your hoodie, or a charging cable coiled next to you right now. Every single one is doing the same job that first rope did. You already know how to tie a knot. Your fingers already understand the motion of twisting one strand around another until it locks. Nobody taught your hands to want that shape. It is older than teaching. So here is the real mystery about you, specifically. Somewhere, one of your ancestors was the first. Not the first person to use a rope. The first person to realize that two weak things, twisted together, become one strong thing that neither one could be alone. Was that an accident? Or did that person already understand something about the world that took the rest of us 300,000 years to catch up to?
Rewind now, not to Homo sapiens, further back, to a river valley in what is now southeastern France, roughly 50,000 years ago. A Neanderthal crouches beside a flint tool, wrapping thin strips of bark fiber around the handle so it will not slip in a wet hand. Bend one fiber and it snaps under almost no pressure. Twist three of them together in the same direction though, and something changes. The fibers grip each other. The whole thing resists a pull that would have snapped any single strand instantly. In 2020, archaeologist Bruce Hardy examined that exact stone tool from a rock shelter called Aubry du Marais and found something stuck to it that should not have survived 50,000 years, a fragment of twisted plant fiber cord. Three strands spun together exactly the way you would twist rope today. It is the oldest direct evidence of cordage on Earth, and it was made by Neanderthals, a species we spent a century assuming was too simple for anything this deliberate. Making that cord takes planning most people never credit them with. Select the right plant, strip usable fiber from bark or stem, twist it under enough tension that it holds, but not so much that it snaps.
Repeat that motion hundreds of times to get a length worth using. That is a process, taught hand to hand, generation to generation, long before anyone wrote a single word down. Push forward in time, to a cave called Zutsuwana in the country of Georgia. In 2009, paleobotanist Eliso Kavadze and her team found wild flax fibers under a microscope, over 30,000 years old. Some of them twisted, some of them dyed with color. Someone was not just making cord to survive anymore. Someone was making cord to look a certain way.
The moment a species starts coloring its rope is the moment rope stops being only a tool and starts being something closer to identity. Here is a claim that might bother you a little. At the one skill that mattered most for keeping a person alive 50,000 years ago, you are almost certainly less capable than a Neanderthal was. For nearly the entire time humans have existed, twisting fiber into cord was one of the most valuable skills a person could have. It built fishing nets, which meant food from water instead of just land. It built snares, which meant meat without a spear and without a direct fight with an animal that could kill you first.
It built the lashings that turned loose sticks into a frame, and a frame into a shelter that did not collapse in the first storm. Archaeologist Elizabeth Wayland Barber calls this the hidden technology of prehistory, because stone tools survive in the ground for us to dig up and admire, but cord almost never does. It rots within a few decades in most soil. So for over a century, we built an entire picture of the Stone Age around the one material that happened to last, and quietly ignored the material that may have mattered even more. You still have the instinct. Watch a toddler with a shoelace or a headphone cord and they will twist it, wrap it, knot it without anyone telling them to. That urge is still fully wired into your hands, but the skill behind it is almost completely gone. Most adults today cannot make a working cord from raw plant material to save their life because the entire survival value of that skill vanished the moment factories started making rope for us. 10,000 generations of hands that could do this. One generation, and it is nearly extinct.
If you want to know what else evolution wired into you that never got the memo it is the 21st century, subscribe to Neanderthink.
Line up three people. Statistically, all three of them can tie their shoes without thinking. Maybe one of them could improvise cordage from a plant if their life actually depended on it tonight. 2 out of 3 could not. And out there, that gap would cost them everything. Here is the part that should genuinely unsettle you. Strip away every rope, every string, every cable, every stitch of thread from the modern world for even one day, and it collapses instantly.
Clothes fall apart at the seam. Bridges lose their suspension cables. Surgery loses its sutures. A parachute does not open. We built a species-wide civilization on top of an invention so quiet and so biodegradable that it almost never shows up in the museum case next to the arrowhead and the spear point. If you have ever twisted a rubber band around your fingers without thinking, or braided something absent-mindedly while watching television, you already know this urge is still alive in you. That is either the strangest coincidence in human history, or it is proof that some skills do not fully disappear. They just go quiet, waiting for a hand that needs them again.
You are not going to start braiding rope out of tree bark tomorrow, and that is fine. The reframe is not really about the rope. It is about what the rope proves. The biggest inventions in human history were not always loud, like a spear or a fire or a wheel. Sometimes the invention that changed everything was two weak things, twisted together patiently, until they became something neither one could ever be alone. That is not a bad way to think about your own life either. Your relationships, your habits, the small daily efforts that do not look like much on their own, but hold everything else together if you keep twisting them in the same direction long enough. You are alive today because someone twisted two weak strands together until they became one strong one. And every single day, without noticing it, your hands are still trying to do the exact same thing. That instinct in your fingers, the one that wants to twist and knot and braid without being told, is not a habit. It is 50,000 years of memory, and it is still running quietly underneath everything you do. If you want to see another piece of ancient hardware still hiding inside your modern life, there is a video waiting for you right after this one.